Oftentimes people will say, I just don't know what the right choice is. I don't believe that that is normally the case. What I think is more often the case is you know exactly what the right choice is. The problem you're having is, are you willing to make the sacrifice necessary to make the right decision? Because oftentimes the right choice is going to require a sacrifice.
I just wanna. Everybody now.
Okay, so I realized that was kind of a cryptic start to my video. Let me see if I can't give you an example of exactly what I mean. All right, so to properly unfurl this story for you, I'm gonna have to give you some insight into me. And I'll be perfectly honest with you. This is not something I'm anxious to share, but to properly illustrate this point, I'm gonna need to offer some hard evidence, because that's kind of an outlandish statement to leave standing on its own, that the right choice will usually require a lot of sacrifice. Okay, I need to give you something to illustrate my point, so that's what I'm about to do. But let me be perfectly honest with you. These videos these are kind of my story. These are my take on it. And if you were writing a book about yourself, you'd be the star of your book. If you was making a movie about yourself, you'd be the star of your movie. This is no exception. I'm not trying to act as if my life is perfect and I am some guru sitting high on a mountaintop dispensing wisdom. On the other hand, I also don't want to burden you with every intimate detail of my life, a lot of which are negative. In this particular instance, I'm going to have to do that, so bear with me. If you've been watching for the past 4 months, you know that I have I've fallen on hard times, okay, financially speaking, and it's due in no small part to mistakes that I've made. Back in July, I lost that job, the bus job, touring the country, and I lost $9,000 right there. Just like that, poof, gone. I followed that up about 2 months down the road by wrecking my wife's car, and between the insurance deductible and the lost wages from that was another $2,500 that I lost. So what are we up to now? 9, 10, 11, 11,500. Not more than a month later, maybe 5 weeks later, I should say, I had another accident in my wife's car. Well, this time somebody hit me, but that point notwithstanding, that cost another $500 to get that up and going. So if you're keeping count, I've lost about $12,000 since July. Now, maybe you have arranged your life in such a manner that you can easily shoulder the burden of a $12,000 loss, 11,500, 12,000 in a 4 months time. If you have, that's great. Mazel tov. I, on the other hand, have not found myself in a junction in life yet where I can shoulder the burden of $12,000 lost in 4 or 5 months. Right, that is an incredible burden. So I and Trina by proxy, we have fallen on some pretty hard times now. So about 4 or 5 days ago, I'm out riding my bike. If you're watching this, you know that I've got 2 major rides coming up. I've got Tampa to Key West, and that's in about 4 weeks, maybe 5. And that's about 450 miles, self-supported ride from Tampa to Key West, Florida. And I'm going to be following that up shortly with a 3,000-mile ride from my fan club. If you've watched my workout videos from the pavilion over here at Walsingham Park, you realize that those 2 are my fan club, and let me say they are devoted. Okay, followed up shortly by, in May, summer of 2019, a 2,700 to 3,000 mile ride from Key West, Florida to the end of US 1 at the border of Canada and Maine. Okay, so riding my bike is paramount right now. I spend a lot of time on my bicycle, and if you watch my videos, you probably know that. About a week ago, I'm out riding, and my wheel just starts wobbling, and I mean fishtailing. I can literally feel the back of the bike fishtailing. My initial thought was I had a flat. Got off the bike, took a look at it, and my rim was cracked, which of course made it come untrue. And I mean, I was so angry at the time that I didn't think to pull out my camera and shoot a video, but it was horrible, okay? So I had to do something about that, so I rode the bike the last 6 miles. I went from about a 17-mile-an-hour average down to about 12. The wheel's just all over the place. At any rate, I finally hobble into the house. I throw the wheel in the Blazer and I drive it down to the bike shop. I take it in, and it is, as I suspected, absolutely beyond repair, and that's fine. I suspected that. So I need a wheel. I need a wheel. There's no getting around it. This is not something I can do without. If I'm going to continue to train 150, 200 miles a week on my bike, preparing for these rides, I can't miss days. So the guy cuts me a deal, gives me about a $125 rim, knocks it down to $75. The cost of labor, changing all my parts over, installation, fine truing the wheel, and getting me on my way is $90. Okay, this is the part that I'm not anxious to share with you, because this is embarrassing. But when he told me what a great deal he cut me, and it is, I've bought wheels before, $90 with installation. I only had $108 in the bank. That's what I'm down to, $108. So ostensibly, this $90 wheel repair is going to wipe out my entire net worth. It's going to leave me $18 left in the bank. All of that from the beginning of this video leads to this, the right choice. I had a very difficult choice to make. No, that's not true. That's not true. I had a very obvious choice to make. If I'm going to complete the 450-mile Key West ride, if I'm going to complete the 3,000, 2,700, 3,000-mile Canada ride, that bike can't be down for a day, let alone a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, however long it's going to take me to get up enough, surplus money to take care of it. So I had a very easy choice to make, but I found it was very difficult to make it. So I pulled out my debit card, I laid it down on the counter, and watched all but $18 vanish from my bank account so I could get the bike up and going. It's not that I didn't know what the right choice was. I knew what the right choice was. The question was, what was I willing to sacrifice to make it? Because let me tell you this, and then I'll get on with this. Spending your last $90, essentially, to repair a bike is not the kind of choice that a reasonable man would make. It's just not. On the other side of that coin, a reasonable man is not going to complete a 450-mile solo self-supported ride to Key West and follow it up with a 3,000-mile solo self-supported ride from Key West to Canada. That's not something a reasonable man would do. So I knew what the choice was. To me, it was obvious. I had to get the wheel. It may not be the choice a reasonable man would make, but I'm not doing reasonable things right now. So that's what takes me back to how I initially started this video. It's not that you don't know what the right choice is normally. It's, are you willing to make the sacrifices that often come with making the right choice? That new wheel was the right choice for me. It required an immense sacrifice. Sadly to say, that $90 pretty much wiped out my entire fortune. Now, I envision that my circumstances are going to improve. The universe just has a natural order. There's an ebb and a flow. You're up and you're down. You know, winter always follows fall. It's cyclic. It'll come back around and I'll be good again. But right now I'm not. And I had to make a very difficult choice. The only reason I was able to make that choice is because I knew in my heart it was right. It was worth the sacrifice. All right, so as long as I'm here, I'm in the pavilion. You've seen this before. I have another choice to make. My legs are shot. I'm at about 130 something miles, and I've been doing a lot of climbing. I've been doing a lot of work on my speed. My legs are shot, but as long as I'm here, there's something else that I know I need to do. It's the right choice. I'm just not anxious to do it. You probably know what's coming up. Yeah, I don't envision that I'm going to enjoy this at all.
Girlfriend, you gotta get it right. Girlfriend, you gotta learn to fight. Girlfriend, you gotta get it right. Keep your eyes on the prize. Girlfriend, you gotta get it right. You gotta want it with all your might. Girlfriend, you gotta learn to fight. I know you're gonna be alright. You wanna make your way in this crazy world. Step up, girl, you got what it takes. They always say don't make waves. Don't you listen? No. You gotta speak up, speak up. You gotta dare and speak your mind. You gotta get loud, or you'll always be behind. 'Cause girl, you gotta let 'em know that you mean it, you mean it. 'Cause girl, you gotta let 'em know to keep those hands away from you. So, girlfriend, you gotta get it right. Girlfriend, you gotta learn to fight. Girlfriend, you gotta get it right. You need a man to keep you down, 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 Girlfriend, you gotta learn to fight.
Okay. So that was kind of an impromptu workout, but it was the right choice. It's not going to feel like the right choice for the rest of the ride, but I assure you, it was the right choice. I needed to do it. It had probably been a week since I'd done anything on my legs other than ride. So, good choice.
Take me in slow, breathe me in and let me go. Filling the lungs inside you, and the blackened eyes make my way into your mind. Just to know what you knew. Restless every time we start locking eyes.
All right, guys, that's it. That's a wrap. That's the end of the video. This is the takeaway, at least as I see it. There's always a right choice and there's always a wrong choice. And more often than not, the distinction is very clear. The problem we're running into is disciplining ourselves, being willing to make the sacrifice necessary to make the right choice. 9 times out of 10, you know what it is. All right, guys, I had to cut that ride short. I think it's going to end up being just about 15 miles or so, but I did throw in a 20-minute leg workout, and that was necessary. I haven't done it for a while, so that needed to be done. Anyway, this is Resolve Life Training. I'm Michael. I enjoyed making the video. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Until next time.